Aaron David, we're here to talk about your work that's featuring in Ceramic Panic on Gertrude. Clement Greenberg spent his career trying to strip painting back to its essence. Your imaginary commune is searching for a mutated version of that, something spiritual and material at once. What does the commune believe that Greenberg got wrong?
I didn't get into Greenberg until during my PhD, actually, and I found it really difficult to engage with his writing. And it was only when I started reading his book, The Harold Letters, which is letters between him and his childhood friend, Harold Lazarus. I enjoyed his writings. And then I got into his theory, and I found this text in American Painting, the essay American Painting, and in it was the word viable essence and reducing painting to this viable essence. And that is really such a strange and weird thing, two words to put together, viable and essence. And what does that even mean? And I was in the tutorial and I didn't have any work with me, and I was making up like some excuse, and the tutor said, can you just describe the painting? And in the description of the painting, some words came out that made the tutor think about a cult. And I just started to write about Clement Greenberg creating this cult or this commune, and this viable essence that was being searched for. So what was he getting wrong? I don't think he was getting anything wrong, actually. I think that what the commune are doing are searching for something that's not a viable essence as a conceptual position, but literally as a material. So they're like alchemists looking for a substance that has a viable essence in paint. So what does that look like?
So cake decorating is a technique for making surfaces that perform abundance, excess, celebration, desire. What happens to that when it's on a book rather than on a cake?
So I'm looking at one of the paintings now, this sort of really thick paint on top of a book, which is then, the other strange thing is the book is sealed shut. It's got a drill screws into the back, and you can no longer read the book. It becomes a functional book anymore, and it becomes more of a surface for the painting. There's also the connection between what book the paint goes on and the idea that maybe this paint substance is growing out of the narrative somehow, literally from the book. There is something really interesting about decoration as well, I think.
And there's something quite remarkable about the decoration locking the knowledge, like the blocking or locking the knowledge, the fact that it's taking over, and that like this beauty and this aesthetic is actually very superficial, and the knowledge, which actually has depth and breadth, is ironically been shut away as a result of its application.
I guess it can be seen like that. I'm not sure that I like the idea of shutting off knowledge, or maybe just the paint is trying to absorb that knowledge through its materiality, and so it's
reading like that.
Yeah. Sometimes I buy books and I'm like, I've got so many books and I'm not reading these, that I'm never going to get to read them. But I feel like even though they're around me and I'm not reading them, I can somehow absorb their knowledge. It's kind of your question, actually, or it made me think about the very origins of cake decoration. And I don't know the very origins, but I went to Pompeii last year and was absolutely blown away by the level of decoration that was going on in Pompeii, in just outside Rome. It was unbelievable level of decoration. I'm like, how are these people, why were they decorating, and why do we decorate?
So you say, trapped air releasing and revealing another color underneath. You describe that as glimpsing unknown forces. Is that a loss of control you welcome, or something that you're kind of trying to manage?
When that first happened, I thought, oh no. And then I stopped for a second and could recognize that this is one of those accidents that happens in artist studios that you could easily just walk away from. But the paint, as I mentioned earlier, like I'm always in a hurry to get the paint out of the tube and onto the surface, whether that's marbling or oil painting or whatever it is that I'm doing. And so I very quickly put oil paint into this sort of bag, cake decorating bag, and as you're putting it in so quickly, there's air bubbles, so I'm not paying attention to that, and so they do come out and burst. And there is an element of chance there, I think, and my practice has has quite a lot of chance elements involved. I had a wheel that I would spin to try and work out what materials I should use and what themes I should be thinking about and what character is making these. So I could have someone like Harry Houdini in the transformation room making ceramics. I'm purposely setting up these chance methods for those accidents to happen, actually. So whenever those accidents happen now, I'm looking for them.
You've titled works after X-Files episodes for years. What does that mythology give you that art world language doesn't?
Well, it's the Harold letters. I love the Harold letters and the book fictioning. They're kind of like my atlas. I always return to them. And other books and other theories will come in, but there's something about the X-Files for me that just has everything that, or parts of everything that I need, if that makes sense. I'm always rewatching them, and there's going to be a reboot soon, which I'm really excited about.
No way.
Usually when I talk about the X-Files in my practice, I talk about the space in between belief and skepticism.
The amethyst is pressed into the wet clay and then removed. So what remains is the negative of the crystal, not the crystal itself. What does it mean to you that the object that made the mark isn't there anymore?
I've worked with crystals for a long time, and I stopped collecting them actually after a while because I realized that we shouldn't really be mining the earth for all these. So my crystals are now sort of what remains once you remove this crystal. You've got this imprint in the clay, and what remains. And I think this is a really interesting question. Kind of makes me think about all the other questions and how I've thought about answering them. And this idea that, is there something missing? Is there something that's still present? Is it absent? What is left behind? Is there something of the crystal that, or the associations of the crystal that, or even the language of the crystal that can still be seen in this work and held onto? Fiction is, for me, incredibly useful tool. Like I wouldn't be able to just talk about crystals or soul or spirit without the fiction in between me and that thing. Before the Commune became this thing, I was making paintings that they were sort of black triangle paintings, and they had a crystal on the top of them, and the crystal looked like it was sort of leaking or having some connection. White bit underneath. So there was fiction there as well, I suppose, a type of fiction.